December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Today, I became the lighthouse keeper here on Sanibel, and I changed from a Coast Guard uniform to civilian clothes. My wife May and daughter Margaret and I are now living in the keeper's quarters. Just a few months ago, there were soldiers and Coast Guardsmen all over the place, and now it's only us, and it's very quiet here. Bob England.
Harper & Brothers Publishing, New York City. I have arrived on Sanibel Island today, my first visit here in 10 years. I walked down to the lighthouse late at night, in the fog, all alone. And in the sound of the surf, I heard music. Music, my rampart, and my only one. Without music, I should wish to die. Edna St. Vincent Millay.
It's a great life for me and May and our daughter Margaret. I've been the Sanibel lighthouse keeper for a year now, and we love this place. I hope we can stay here forever. Bob England.
Gary, this ferry boat is the only way on or off Sanibel Island. I can't believe my dad is making me spend my 17th summer here, all because he is doing research on seashells. Is that boring or what? And to make it worse, this will be my first summer without baseball since I was 10. Your friend, Buck.
My daughter Mary Ann was in her own world, walking on the beach. I think this picture captures the solitude and serenity that is Sanibel. Charlie McCullough.
Gary, on the beach yesterday, I did not see one person my age. It's gonna be a long summer. In the afternoon, I saw a guy with a really nice camera taking pictures. As I watched, he said, "Hey kid, wanna help me with my tripod?" This is the picture he took. His name is Peg Leg Dugan. The photographer is Charlie McCullough. He made a couple of prints for me. Your friend, Buck.
On the beach yesterday, I saw a high school kid walking all by himself. He seemed so alone. I asked him to help me carry the tripod. His name's Buck. I got some shots of Peg Leg Dugan, and then we went to Captiva at sunset, where I got this shot. I made a couple of prints of Peg Leg's photo and gave them to Buck today. He asked me what kind of camera I think he should buy. Nice kid. Charlie McCullough.
Today my dad took pity on me, and we took the ferry to Fort Myers. I came back with a really good camera and lots of film. We had lunch at a drugstore fountain, and I saw a couple of girls my age. Once I told them I was staying on Sanibel, the conversation kind of wilted. That's my summer so far. Stuck on an island. Nothing to do. Your friend, Buck.
Buck's hanging out with me every day now. He seems to have a real interest in photography. I walked out my front door yesterday and saw my neighbor Esperanza Woodring. She was standing up in her boat and pulling. She can navigate so quietly that the fish can't even hear her. Charlie McCullough.
Gary, Charlie and I took a boat out to Tarpon Bay right before sunset. He got this shot of Harrison Woodring's fish house. Charlie is right. Lighting is everything. Thanks for letting me know that the Dodgers are in first place. I can't believe Jackie Robinson stole home. I really miss playing baseball. Your teammate, Buck.
Today, Buck went with me to several fish houses. First was Harrison Woodring's place. We took some photos there. This one belongs to Bill Stevens. Buck got his own camera last week, and he's actually getting some pretty good shots. Charlie McCullough.
Gary, Charlie and I took the ferry to Fort Myers today and bought some more film. On the whole trip, he kept looking into his lens, maybe 100 times. I asked him what he was doing, and he said, "I'm finding the picture. The picture's there. It's the photographer's job to find it, and then click the shutter." Man, this is fun. Your friend, Buck.
While Buck and I were on the ferry today, he was very observant, and he asked a lot of questions. At the photo store, he bought a lot of film, including several rows of Kodacolor, which just came out a few years ago. I shoot mostly black and white, but he gave me one of the color rolls. This is what I got. Not bad. Charlie.
Gary. Okay, I'm a city boy. But today I saw something I had never seen before. I asked Charlie, "What's that little house over there?" "Son," he said, "that's an outhouse." He couldn't stop laughing. I really felt stupid. Your friend, Buck. It was our last hour on Sanibel Island. Charlie was at Ferry Landing to say goodbye to my parents and me. His daughter Marianne tagged along with us. He had his camera, but he didn't take any shots for a while. Suddenly he said, "There's the picture. I can't believe the summer's over. See you soon. Your friend, Buck."
We went to Bowman's Beach today. It's very secluded, and we found what looked like a moonshine still. Smelled like one too. 15 minutes later, we came upon some people sunbathing naked, right there on the beach. Never know what you'll see here. Naked! Hedwin Starbuck.
Hello, Buck. I hope your summer on Sanibel was a good experience. You sure helped me a lot. I'm sending you what I call my self-portrait. But to be honest, Buck, you took the picture. You framed it, you clicked the shutter. Man, you learned a lot this summer. It was a pleasure to hang out with you, and I hope to someday see your photographs in national magazines. Your friend, Charlie McCullough. Today I got a good photo of Ralph Woodring on his dock with a cat and a fish. Ralph said, "The animals are kind of acting funny. I think there may be a big storm coming soon." He may be right. Charlie McCullough.
The hurricane flags are out on docks to warn people of a big storm coming this way. Now, we don't have many phones here, and we actually don't get much news of any kind. It looks bad out there. I sure hope it misses us. Bob England. The hurricane hit us head on. Our home was shaking, but we survived it. Now I'm going to check on others around the island. Bob England.
I shot this yesterday after the storm passed. Not only was the old clubhouse still standing, but there was this beautiful rainbow. Nature can be so destructive, and yet it can also create such beauty. Charlie McCullough.
Another hurricane? That's 2 in just over 4 weeks. The hurricane damage was pretty bad this time. We lost a lot of land. Our steps now go into the water, and our septic tank's exposed. Not good. Bob England.
Me and Eldon Dad White looked over all the mess that second hurricane left. We're still cleaning up from the first one. Spirits are high here, despite everything. Sanibel is a great place to live, and a hurricane can't change that. Pegleg Dugan.
This is what remains from Pegleg Dugan's fish house. Sad to see that it's all gone, except for the pilings. But the man's lucky to be alive. Morning after the storm, Ralph Woodring found Dugan's peg leg and thought he had died and washed out to sea. Well, he didn't. Dugan's a tough old bird. Charlie McCullough.
I went and checked on the Shanahan family to see how they're doing. The hurricane last week did a lot of damage there. I feel a certain kinship with them. Henry Shanahan was Sanibel's second lighthouse keeper, and his son Eugene also had the job for a while. The Shanahans have a big family. I think 13 people lived here at one time. Bob England.
We had 2 hurricanes back to back. But looking at the sky from my dock, you'd never know anything had happened. The beauty of Sanibel cannot be overstated. I love this place. Charlie McCullough. Here it is, almost Christmas, and the ferries are full of people coming back for the holidays. This place means so much to so many people. We have a spirit here that really shows who we are in times of adversity. And when the boat docked, the seagulls came down and circled overhead, as if to say, "Welcome back to Sanibel." Charlie McCullough.
Well, it's a new year for Sanibel. I hope it's better than 1947. The dock at Ferry Landing survived 2 bad hurricanes. I imagine that dock is so strong that there ain't no hurricane that could cause it harm. Bob England.
My grandson, Peter, came to visit us this week. He asked, "How long have you lived here, Grandma?" I told him, "Over 50 years." He said, "I bet there were Indians when you came here." I said, "Yes, there were. The Calusa were here." I don't think he believed me. Hallie Matthews.
Snooky Shanahan Williams is Clarence's niece. We went over to their house and she was cutting hair that day. "Get in line, Clarence," I said. "You're pretty shaggy." While we think of Sanibel as paradise, many simple things, such as a barber shop or a long boat ride away. Ruth Rutland.
I love this picture. This is Ralph Woodring, Esperanza's boy. He seems to be saying, "I'm just as stubborn as you are, Billy Goat." Charlie McCullough.
To my favorite niece, Dolores. My return visit to Sanibel lifted my spirits. The majesty of this island can't be destroyed by a hurricane. I love to take the last ferry when I leave. There's something about the sunset on the island as the dusk comes softly like a silent mist. Your favorite auntie, Edna. P.S. I love it when you call me Saint Edna. You are so funny. Note for my diary. Christmas Day. We're spending the holidays on Sanibel. We took the ferry over and the brochure lists 3 hotels now. Besides Causeway and Island Inn, there's Mitchell's Cottages. In addition, 2 private homes are open to overnight guests. We're staying at Island Inn, which used to be the Matthews back then. Beverly Sears Lippincott. Hello, sis. Yesterday, Gordon and I walked the full length of Sanibel, starting at the lighthouse, and 5 hours later, we were at the Captiva Bridge. It is so beautiful. Except for people near the 3 hotels, I didn't see anybody on the beach. I remember how much fun you and I used to have here when we were kids. Your big sister, Beverly.
To Bob England, care of the Lighthouse, Sanibel, Florida. As you requested, here are the aerial photos of the Sanibel Lighthouse. It's so strange seeing the old submarine observation tower in the photo. The war seems so long ago. Your friend, Jesse Allen.
This is a photo of my wife May and our Ford taken just a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, we've learned that the lighthouse is being automated and will no longer be living here. Bob England.
Today, we were at Punta Rasa, waiting for the ferry to Sanibel. Along comes this truck loaded down with seashells. While my husband was taking this picture, I bought some shells. When he saw what I had done, he said, "Don't you know shells are all over the beach on Sanibel, and you can pick them for free?" Maud Winters. Well, my husband was right. You can pick up shells all over the beach. Every day I have picked up boxes of shells, and I'm sending them home to my friends. And every day I take boxes to the Sanibel post office. I'm now on a first-name basis with the postmistress, Sosha Bryant. Maud Winters.
Mom, Sanibel is the mosquito capital of the world. They count them with a thing called the New Jersey light trap. They set them overnight at Ferry Landing. If there are 25 any given morning, that's called an annoyance. If you get 2,000, they get in your throat and eyes. It makes you gag, and your eyes water. Last night, in one trap, they collected 365,000 salt marsh mosquitoes. I quit. I'm coming home. See you soon. Your son, Randy.
Esperanza was up early this morning washing clothes, and I saw a picture I had to take. She's my next door neighbor, and she's the best fishing guide on the island. By the way, you almost never see Esperanza wearing shoes. She says shoes hurt her feet. Charlie McCullough. This is the house my grandfather built in 1908. It started as a clubhouse, a getaway for some of his friends. My dad inherited the place, and I really enjoy spending time here. I take my camera everywhere I go. Even though I live in Cincinnati, I think of Sanibel's my home. I hope to live here someday. Charlie McCullough.
Today I bought the old Brewster home on Woodring Point. It doesn't have much of a road, so it's hard to get to. But as the only employee of the Sanibel National Wildlife Refuge, I often take my boat to work. And then the government Jeep is mine to use for the day. Tommy Wood.
Today we made the final leg of our move to Sanibel. Cookie and I have dreamed of making a new life in this place for a long time. Now, we are here, and we are excited about the future that awaits us. Bob Duggar.
The cars line up every day, and the ferry boat comes every half hour, all day long, bringing more and more people to Sanibel Island. Our population has nearly tripled in the past 10 years. Over 300 people live here now. Tommy Wood.
This is the street where Bob and I will make our new life. Actually, street is not the right word. It's a wide, sandy path. Cookie Duggar. Bob was out from daylight to dark today overseeing the builders here. It rained real hard all day yesterday and the lot was flooded. Tomorrow will be a better day. Cookie Duggar. This is one of the new cottages that Bob built. They're pretty small, but more and more people want to come here to vacation, and these are really popular. Cookie Duggar.
They put up a new sign for the Sanibel Wildlife Refuge, and just as I got my camera ready, this raccoon climbed on top, just like he was posing. Tommy Wood. P.S. I'm still the only employee at the refuge.
Well, Cookie is really taking to the new life here. We don't have a dog, but she is taking one of the local gators for a walk around our place at Duggar's Tropical Village. Bob Duggar. P.S. She's not scared of those things, but I gotta tell you, I am.
The Shell Fair has been around since 1928, and it's always fun to see the new things here. My mother brought me to my first Shell Fair when I was 7, and now my own 7-year-old daughter is here at her first Shell Fair. Love this place. Mary Alice Nolan.
There's a ferry to and from Sanibel every 30 minutes, but if you miss the 6 p.m. ferry back to the mainland, well, you're here for the night. More than a few people have wound up sleeping on the beach and taking the first ferry out the next morning. Yes, they have. Captain Leon Crumpler, ferry boat pilot.
Today was our wedding anniversary, and we had this photo made. We are enjoying living here and especially like to be involved with the events at the community house. Cookie Duggar.
Wow, who would have ever guessed that Sanibel would have a second grocery store? The Beehive store opened recently on Periwinkle Way, and it's very convenient for many people who don't live close to Bailey Road. Bob England.
Look at this. Sanibel now has a woman's clothing store. Dottie's Fashion has located in this old home at the corner of Periwinkle and Tarpon Bay Road. Cookie Duggar. What a great night we had at the community house. Bob choreographed and directed an evening of singing and dancing entertainment, and we had so much fun. Some of the performers were Miriam Chapman and Connie Ritchie. Cookie Duggar. Bob and I have been so busy building Duggar's Tropical Village that our own home didn't get done for a while. Here's Bob and the house, and I am so proud of what he has done. Cookie Duggar.
This is the view from one of the bedrooms of the clubhouse my grandfather built. Loved that room. As you slept at night, you could hear the night herrings and the splash of the mullet in the bay. Charlie McCullough.
The submarine observation tower is still there after all these years. The shifting sands have made it tilt a little, but it's still standing. 10 years ago, I was the lighthouse keeper here, and I still miss the old place. Bob England.
I finally got to hire another employee here at the refuge. Charles LaBeouf is a very bright young man and the refuge biologist, which includes many other duties, such as law enforcement and occasionally relocating a gator. Tommy Wood.
We have our own postcard now for Duggar's Tropical Village. It's hard to imagine when we started building this place that people would actually pay $65 a week just to stay here. Cookie Duggar.
People pass by this old barn every day. Most of them have no idea this was built over 70 years ago by Oliver Bowen. He was the first homesteader on Wolford and is mentioned in Mark Twain's book Life on the Mississippi. Bob England.
Sanibel is becoming quite a tourist attraction. This is a postcard of the lighthouse I bought at the Beehive store on Periwinkle yesterday. Half the people you see here are stooping over to pick up shells. That's so funny. Cookie Duggar.
Today, on a trip over from Punta Rasa to Sanibel, someone said, "What are you going to do when they build a bridge to Sanibel?" "What bridge?" I asked. And he said, "Lots of people are talking about it." I hope that never happens. The ferry is more than transportation. It's a part of the Sanibel experience. Captain Leon Crumpler, ferry boat pilot.
My husband and I come to Sanibel every year. This year we're walking down the beach and I see something like I have never seen. It's a Mississippi River pedal boat on the beach. I have no idea how it got there. Beverly Sears Lippincott.
Everybody's talking about the big boat. Here's what I know. Its owners, Helen and Lathrop Brown, planned to use the boat to become one of their homes. But Mr. Brown died shortly after the boat was situated. I don't know what will become of it now. Bob England. Look at that. The old Bailey home has a TV antenna. Not many places on the island have a TV. Lots of them still don't even have indoor plumbing. And unless you have a well, the only way to have water in your home is to catch the rain in the cistern. Bob England.
Another new motel for Sanibel, Hires Cottages, right on the Gulf. These people are really going big time with their advertising. In addition to this postcard, they even have color brochures. Check these out. Ruth Rutland.
I just saw this photo in the news press today. Imagine, the sheriff busted a moonshine still in the woods near Fort Myers. That never happens in Sanibel. Why, we hardly ever see a Lee County deputy over here. Now, we got moonshine stills here, just nobody gets arrested for it. Junior Dixon. I tell you, there's some strange stuff happening up at Yusepa Island. Every fisherman knows that there are way too many people on those shrimp boats, and they come up Pine Island Sound full of people. And then they stop at Yusepa for 30 minutes or so, and they leave empty. Very strange. Junior Dixon. I overheard this today at Bailey store. The man said something suspicious is going on in Pine Island Sound. He said, me and one of my deputies took a boat up there, and sure enough, it looks like military training is going on there on Yusepa. And the man who was saying that was the sheriff of Lee County. So he ought to know. Junior Dixon.
While I was waiting for the ferry, I heard some talk about building a bridge from the mainland. Now that will change things here. Hope it never happens. John Buckingham.
I knew there was something going on Yusepa. The guy in the picture, I swear I've seen him many times right here on Sanibel. I wonder if them Cuban fishermen were actually, oh my gosh, they were here. And they invaded Cuba. Junior Dixon.
This is Dean Darling's fish house. When I told him I had taken this photo, he invited me over one afternoon. And while we watched the sunset, he drew a cartoon just for me. Charlie McCullough.
This is the Blind Pass Bridge connecting Sanibel to Cativa. Won't be long before there's a second bridge here, 3 miles long, counting the causeway. Bob England.
In less than a year, the causeway will be open. Development has already started. Lots of people think the causeway is great. Others simply call it that damn causeway. John Buckingham.
Here's something we won't see much longer. The boat bringing gasoline to the island. Lots of changes happening here. Charlie McCullough.
Last day of the ferry. The Kinsey family brought a ferry to Sanibel in the early 1900s. They operated a ferry business and opened up a new ferry dock in 1934. Here's Captain Leon Crumpler, Loretta Lee, the traffic checker, and Rebecca Kinsey. This is the end of an era. Cookie Duggar.
The causeway opened today. I saw a sign on Periwinkle that simply said, "Life as we know it is over." John Buckingham.
Daddy, here's a drawing your granddaughter did of the last ferry to Sanibel. You made so many trips over here on the ferry to visit us. She wanted you to have it. The new causeway will make it easier for you to come here now. Carla Sue.
Causeway has been open 1 year today. Here's what our island looks like from the air. The east end is being developed, but there's lots of room to grow. Sanibel will never ever be the same. Many people, like me, we think it will only become better. One day, there will be a golf course here. I'm going to build it. John Continos.
This is the Sanibel Black School. The last classes were here today. The new Sanibel School on Sandcap Road was built a year ago, and now both white and black citizens come together to make the Sanibel School the first in Lee County to integrate. Charlie McCullough.
The new Reef Resort Motel is on Gulf Drive. This is very close to the Island Inn, which used to be the Matthews Motel. Lots of new development here now that the causeway is open. Bob England.
Sanibel now has its first shopping center. Along with my wife Bella and my sister Mary Alec, we built this at the corner of Periwinkle Way and Tarpon Bay Road. There's a Coconut Grove restaurant managed by my wife and a beauty shop run by Mary Alec. Among our tenants are Bailey's General Store, a laundromat, and a movie theater. John Continos. Sanibel may have a shopping center, but we also have alligators. And some of the people who live here take pride on being gator wranglers. Ride 'em, cowboy. Tommy Wood. Anytime you think Sanibel is moving forward too fast, just remember that Bailey's General Store still makes its deliveries in a 1927 Model T Ford. John Continos. This is the Sanibel Beauty Shop, run by my sister, Mary Alec. Now the women who live and visit here won't have to go to Fort Myers to have their hair done. John Continos.
After the causeway opened, tourists came like never before, and motels and restaurants grew like mushrooms. I have a big postcard collection showing the development in the mid-60s, after the causeway. John Buckingham.
Hello, Buck. I hope you have great memories of the summer of '47. It's hard to imagine that was over 20 years ago. I once told you I expected to see your photos in national magazines someday. This morning when Sports Illustrated came, I saw Ted Williams on the cover. I thought about you. I must say, I wasn't really surprised when I saw the photo credit. Cover photo, Buck Davidson. I'm proud of you, kid. Your friend, Charlie McCullough.
"10 years after the causeway was built, there's a new causeway toll booth now. Before the causeway opened, we'd have 80, maybe 100 cars a day coming to the island on the ferry. Now, there's more than you can count driving here. Lots of people still not very happy about that, and lots of them thinking, it's great." John Buckingham.
Charles Carrault of CBS brought his program to Sanibel and did a great feature on us. Nice article in the News Press today, written by a young reporter named Randy White. Bob England.
Gene Hackman is on Sanibel, filming a movie called Night Moves. Some of the scenes are filmed at Tommy Wood's house on Woodring Point. I was there and I got some photos of Mr. Hackman. Smart man. He said he'd like to write books someday. Charlie McCullough. This is one of the saddest things I have ever seen. Tommy Wood's house burned down today. Charlie McCullough.
The Gene Hackman movie filmed on Sanibel was shown at Island Cinema last night. Great movie. There was a full house there, and I bumped into Durwood Kirby and his wife after the show. Very nice guy, and he's such a big TV star. John Continos.
Hello, Buck. Well, I finally moved to Sanibel, and one of the first things I see is the demolition of the Algiers. She had been here since 1959. And though this day was bound to happen, it still hurts to see it headed for the scrap heap. Your friend, Charlie.
Dear Charlie, I'm sending a recent photo from Paris. It reminds me of the many times we took our cameras to the lighthouse. Thanks to you, I have lived the life of a photographer. I can't think of a greater gift you could have given me. Your friend, Buck. P.S. I would love to see some of your recent work.
Hello, Buck. I love your photos of Paris. You asked to see my recent work. I'm actually sending you some of my favorite photos. You know, it's exactly 100 years since the lighthouse was built, and I can't guess how many times I've come there to take pictures. Here's just a few of those photos. Interesting thing is, the light is never the same there. I never get bored of going back for more shots. I took this picture of the mailboat in '47. Still one of my favorites. I was 24 years old then. That's a rare shot. Most of the time people were on the top deck making a day trip here. And the canoe, well, I shot that last week. Now I'm 61. Somehow, now I mostly take pictures that reflect the Sanibel from an earlier time. The Sanibel that is quickly disappearing. Here's the chapel in Captiva. I like the simplicity of this shot. I like the fact that you can't tell if it was shot yesterday or 40 years ago. Each of the beds in the clubhouse has what we call a survival kit. A water pitcher, a bug sprayer, coal oil lamp, a collapsible cup, and a wine bottle for a nip. Things are changing so fast now. I want to shoot things that are still unchanged by what they call progress. Here's the view from my front porch. I spend many an hour sitting here looking out at the bay. I shot this last week, Buck, but it looks like it's from a long time ago. Lots of people were surprised we still have horses on Sanibel in 1984. This is a shot I took in Paris a while back. I love Paris. I see pictures there everywhere. I don't shoot color film much, but when I do, there's got to be a good reason. This shot on my dock at sunset was a good reason. Reminds me of a shot we took here last week here in '47. I didn't shoot this one, obviously, but it's one of my favorite pictures of me and Ann. This is from 1945. I was 20 then. And here's another picture I shot the summer you were here. This photo of Ann and Mary Ann at the beach is still one of my best. At least I think so. Causeway was built in '63. I took this photo a year or so later. There was lots of division among the people who wanted things the way they were and those that wanted a bridge. A lot of people still talking about that 20 years later. Buck, I always enjoy the letters and photos you send me from around the world. Keep them coming. As for me, I hope to spend the rest of my life taking photos that show the unique character of Sanibel Island. Your friend, Charlie.